tip.
Good afternoon. It is June 20th, 2019. You're listening to A Little Column A, Little Column B, hosted by Will Emanos and co-hosted by Zach Bishop. How you doing today, buddy?
What is going on, Will? There's a new ride opened Harry Potter World called Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure. Just opened up, brand new, but downside is very popular. People waited 10 plus hours in line to ride this thing.
10 hours?
10 hours.
Were they provided any additional entertainment while in the line, or was it just the line?
It's just the line.
Oh, man, that's a long time.
You, not the biggest, theme park ride kind of guy, so I'm thinking there's no ride you're looking to stand in line for that long. What would you stand in line for 10 hours for that for?
Oh, man. Honestly, I'm such an impatient person that I'm struggling to think of something I would wait 10 hours for. Because I'm not a Black Friday person either. I never wanted to do that. I don't know how people did that. I think the most I ever waited in the line was about 2 hours for, I think it was a ride at Epcot. It was Fast Track. This was years ago, probably like 15 years ago. And I just remember waiting 2 hours in the hot sun in Florida. Just 2 hours, just straight waiting. With me, my sister, mom, dad, like the whole family was there. And it just took forever. I may wait for maybe a Super Bowl game. That's maybe the Final Four. But even then, like I enjoyed both of those things at home. Like I could easily just watch it at home. I don't need to wait 10 hours to make that any better. Every Patriot win has been just as enjoyable.
This is a roller coaster ride. So what does it last? 2 minutes? Maybe 4 minutes tops? At least you're saying with the Super Bowl or the Final Four, you're at least going to see a game that goes on for a couple of hours. This seems like an awful long wait for a very little payoff. It said like the max was 10 hours. Later in the afternoon, it said, it got cut down to 5. But if I come in with the headline of people waited in line 5 hours for a new ride, I think you'd have the same general reaction of, that's a long time.
That is a long time. Anything over 2 hours is excessive. I think, the other thing I've been hearing about all these is that the Fast Pass...
The park's only open for so long.
The park is only open for so long. I didn't even think of that. Yeah, that's a whole other thing. I mean, think if you get there right at open, which even that's hard to do. It's hard to be the first person there. I think some passes you get early entry. I think I read somewhere that these Fast Passes, I don't even know if every place is doing it anymore because last they checked there was a longer line in the Fast Pass because more people bought that than the regular pass, just trying to skip the line.
I'm not sure if with it being brand new, if they if it was almost similar to that situation of they did a bunch of, hey, here's some things for people. So that's why if you showed up, even, hey, we know exactly where the place is. Place opens, we're first in line. Like we get there first. You're still like behind the Fast Pass people, the friends and family, whatever people, the Visa rewards people. Just you're already behind the 8 ball.
Yeah, oh man, our audio is going to be rough today. I can already tell. We're a little behind schedule. As you don't know, we normally record Wednesdays. Check out the website, lcalcb.com. And unfortunately, there's just a variety of reasons why we weren't able to do it yesterday. And then today we had planned to do it, and the way we normally record, MixLR is doing some system-wide update or something right now. So we're recording kind of the backup way. If you ever heard our very first episode, it sounded more or less like this. So I'm going to apologize if anyone noticed the audio deficiency, I'll call it. Yeah, we're going to get some weird noises here and there, but it's fine. It's fine. Just listen to us. Don't listen to that, all right? It's Zach, it's Will, it's the same people. We're fine. We may just sound a little fuzzy. What's the longest you ever waited for a ride? And what ride was it?
Same as you, like you're saying, couple hours probably. I know Superman in Agawam, Six Flags there. That was always a long ride, and that was just kind of par for the course. And you just tried to time it as best you could, but that was just an expected, okay, yep, this is going to be the long one we stand in line for. But after that, usually the idea was, okay, let's go to some smaller rides that are only, 10, 15-minute wait to kind of get the juices flowing again.
See, that I think that's a problem with like this whole strategy of showing up super early and being like the first one there. It's great that you didn't have to wait in line, but it's also like you went to the main event, you went on the best ride, the fastest ride, and you've already done it now. What do you do the rest of the day? Like I feel like certain theme parks, they have the one main attraction, and after you do that one, the other ones kind of lose their magic a little bit. It doesn't feel quite as special. So if you do that first one right off the bat, like I remember I had season passes at Six Flags. I could get there super early. I'd go on the one ride, and then I could leave and go back and do whatever I wanted. Do you think? Have you ever gone there real early? Like been the first person there?
I don't think so.
No. Has the first ride you ever been on been the main attraction? You'd be like, all right, I know this is gonna be the longest wait. Let's just get this over with right now. Let's do this ride.
Well, you have to with this situation because it was either do that or you were gonna the rest of the day stand in line. You weren't gonna have any options to do any other rides or any other food or anything else.
See, I would almost hope that if people are waiting 10 hours for the one new ride, that you could go ride almost any other ride in the whole place and be fine.
Everyone's just distracted.
Yeah, everyone's distracted. Like this is actually the best day to go. You just have to accept that you're not going to go on the new ride today. Like that's just not going to happen.
Yeah, just in your head, just say this isn't open yet.
Yeah, it is. It's not even open. I didn't buy the backstage passes to the early entry, which isn't even like anything special. Like, is it really that rewarding to wait 10 hours for a ride that you could probably try out next week and wait 2 hours for?
I don't know. Maybe you're just there for the one weekend. It was opening weekend of the ride, and so you could be the first one, on Instagram to post, "Hey, I was here." Maybe that's part of it.
I don't know. I don't. They're too short, the rides too. I don't know how you make them longer, but then the wait would be even longer. I just wish they were more worth it. It just doesn't sound like something. These theme park prices are way too expensive, if you ask me too. Disney is no longer like a. I don't know how families go to these places. I can't even go, and I'm just paying for my own ticket. Like, how would you pay for your kids and all that?
I don't know. Financially, you gotta figure it out, I guess.
Well, speaking of financials, a whole bunch of NBA players, teams, and organizations are trying to figure out their finances right now. We've had some major trades. We're going to talk about all of it. The draft is later today. We'll talk about some of our expectations for that. But let's, I guess, more or less summarize of what's kind of happened over the past week with the Anthony Davis trade as well as the Mike Conley trade.
Hold on. Before that, the Raptors won the championship.
Oh, did you want to talk about that? You sure you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I want to talk about that because we were both very wrong. I said Warriors in 5, and you said Warriors in 4. So you were more wrong than me. I just want to make sure that was noted.
Actually,
I think some of it had to do with some injuries. Raptors definitely came to play. It was a goofy series where the final 5 games were all won by the road team.
That is strange.
Just very, very strange in the playoffs in general, let alone the finals.
Does that make you question the value of home court?
Really, what's that?
Does that make you question the value of home court?
Nah, I think it's just a blip. I think it's just kind of the way that it works. But then I think the main takeaway from it for the future, I don't mean to take away from the Raptors so much, but Klay Thompson tearing in his ACL, that was just awful. There's a good chance that he and Kevin Durant aren't going to play next year.
Yeah, they're going to
I think it's more likely that they won't play than they will play.
Why would you? I would just have them wait out a year and just say, look, this isn't our... Kind of like what they did with LeBron this year. I think if LeBron pushed himself, they probably could have forced his way into the playoffs, but I don't know what he would have had left. I don't think there's any reason to rush this. If all these guys come back, which we don't know for sure either. We don't know if Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant are going to be back with the Golden State Warriors. It seems in all likelihood that's going to happen, but I've already been surprised by some of the NBA moves and some of the choices that a lot of these teams are making already. So assuming they come back, I would sit them out the entire year because you already got these guys. You're going to max both of them out. You're going to have them for more than a couple of years here, at least 3-4 years, probably 5 years if they really want to do it. And then I just wouldn't even rush it next year. Also, if I'm Steph Curry, I'm signing myself up for ankle injury next year. Like, I want the ankle surgery that I don't need right now. Let me be out next year, too. I do not want to be the guy in the lonely island right now that just gets blamed for everything and that it's suddenly like, oh, 2-time MVP can't carry his own team. A lot harder without all these guys. It's like, yeah, hell yeah, it is. Yeah. It's a hell of a lot harder.
Yeah. How wild was the Klay return?
Well, All right, 2019 having cameras in every angle, like the locker room, everything. Like we just followed him everywhere. It was almost like they could have put that on ESPN2, and I think just as many people would have watched. It would just be like, "What's Clay doing in the locker room? He's like hopscotching and like skipping rope or whatever." And it's like, I think somebody in the locker room must have told him, "If you don't go shoot these free throws, you're disqualified the rest of the game. You can't come back in." And I also thought, like I heard one of the announcers say that. My immediate thought was, I don't care how hurt he is. He's a better free throw shooter than whoever they get to pick on the bench right now, and they need these 2 points. They're not in a position to sacrifice 2 points with some other bench guy coming to shoot the free throws instead for him. Like he needs to just go out there and shoot. Then he comes out, he drains both of them, and the very next play he runs back on defense and is like, all right, yeah, I'm here, I'm doing this. It's whatever. That just I imagine the adrenaline was just running so hard and so much through his veins to that point that he wasn't feeling anything. I don't think he even realized how hurt he honestly was. I mean,
I heard from people, media people that were at the at Oracle that's the loudest they've ever heard a building, or Oracle or any other, when Clay came back onto the court, because he goes down and he was lighting it up. He had
30.
What was it, 30 or 33 points on 12 shot attempts? Like, that is just wild. He was absolutely killing it. He was carrying the team. It looked like it was the third quarter Clay, almost reminiscent of the Thunder series in Game 6, when it looked like, oh, Warriors are going to be done, and then he came out of nowhere, and then he goes up for that dunk and he lands, immediately goes down. And they show the replay, and you could just see that knee wobble. It's like, that's not good. Like, that's his ACL. There's no way he's playing this game. Like, you and I were texting. It's just like, there's no way. He was grabbing it.
You could see it.
Painful. For sure, this game, no good. So they're getting him. They're letting him off into the tunnel. I go to the bathroom. I come back out, and our buddy Buddha I'm watching the game with goes, he's back. He's back in the game. He's shooting the free throws, and like I rush back over. Like there's no way. What is happening? And they go through the replay of someone running into the tunnel saying, "Hey, if he doesn't shoot these free throws, he's for sure out of the game." And comes back out. Place goes nuts. He hits those two. They didn't foul like right away. I thought they were almost going to play out the possession, which I was thinking, if I'm the Raptors, you go right at him. Get it to Kawhi, get the switch, whatever you need to do, go one-on-one, find out is he for real or not, and then Cousins made sure to get the foul, and then was here, and even at that point when he was going back, yelled to Kerr, like, "Hey, don't worry, like I'll be back." Like it was like a 2-minute thing. Like I just got to rest up a sec, and then fourth quarter comes out, nope, not returning, and the next day comes out torn ACL. It's just, oh man, just some awful injury luck.
I really wonder what they did in the locker room, because clearly he was moving, he was jumping, he was really trying to prove to the trainers, making a very, very big effort to say, like, "No, I'm good, I'm fine." The trainer must have sat him down and, like, you know how they do like the knee exams of like, all right, bending over this way, that's good, bending over this way. He must have bent it a certain way, and Clay must have said, "Oh no, that feels awful, that really hurts," and that must have been the wake up call, I imagine, to be like, yeah, you can't do this. Like this is impossible.
Well, on top of this is the same medical staff that everyone is real suspect of, because they said, "Yep, Kevin Durant, you're good to play." Calf injury, and then tears his ruptures his Achilles. So I'm sure there was a lot of if we aren't 100%, we gotta sit him. I'm sure that was going through their mind of, we can't have this happen twice. I don't know how you would hurt your ACL even more than tearing it, but I'm sure there's something.
Do you think we need to reassess these team doctor almost values and the reliancy of all of them? Because the Kawhi Leonard thing that's not too far away ago. That's not too long ago. Like that just happened as well between a debate of whether it was a personal doctor of Kawhi Leonard and the team doctor. Do you think players should just essentially have personal doctors on the sidelines ready to go, or do they need to really have one team guy? I don't know what the easier way is. I would imagine you'd want more in-house people, but whose best interests are these team doctors really looking out for?
It's tricky, and we've definitely heard this in the past. I think a few years ago, Derrick Rose, where the team doctor's like, "Yeah, he's good to go," and he still wasn't so sure. Definitely with Kawhi last year, and it is a little bit of a conflict of interest between, hey, you're getting paid by the team wants them to play, but I think that in a lot of roles there is you're getting pushback, and you still have to have your person that you're taking care of it with the best care that you can give them. Maybe you're your own doctor at that level, but I think that there's just got to be some.
Even if you have your own personal doctor, wouldn't you think that some of these guys could bully their own doctor, being like, no, I'm paying my personal doctor an excessive amount of money, but I'm still going to do whatever I say. All right, you're going to examine me, you're going to tell me what the risks are, but I'm probably still making the final call. I don't know how. You need like a parent here. Like, you need somebody that the players are actually going to listen to, as well as somebody they can trust. I think it's really hard to find somebody who's going to have the best interest and still be on the team with them. It's a difficult situation to be. I don't know if I'd want to be any of these trainers. I imagine at some point all these trainers thought this would be a dream job, but the past couple of years right now, this sounds like a nightmare of whose side am I really on, and why am I getting blamed for things like this? Like, I'm just a doctor. I'm just a trainer. I'm just this guy. I don't play. I don't do anything. But they're making these very important franchise-changing, NBA-changing, decisions. I don't know what the fix is.
It's so tricky. It's so tricky too, because you look at it and you only see the results, and then was their negligence and they did something wrong, or you're playing a sport with humans and there's a unpredictable nature to it, and sometimes you do everything right, you warm up all the ways you should, and something goes wrong. You overexert yourself. It's unfortunate. Not that anyone did anything wrong.
Well. All right. Well, have we covered the finals enough for you right now? I'm trying to get past all this. Right. The parade was fantastic. I will say, other than the very serious drama that happened, I like that. Basically, the entire country of Canada shows up for this parade. Huge parade. I want to say that's the most people that have ever showed up for any parade. At least they made it look that way. Good for them. I'm glad they celebrated. It was well earned. I actually gave a lot of respect to the Golden State Warriors for essentially just saying, yeah, no, trust me, we tried. Like, no excuses. All right, we don't regret anything. We put everything we had out there. We even had guys that were injured, play injured, and with Kevin Durant, and we had a guy that tore his ACL and came back and shot free throws. I thought every one of the Warriors was just like, dude, it just wasn't our year. And I respect the hell out of them for all saying that openly. Because they don't have to say that kind of stuff either. So I give them a whole bunch of credit. But now on to the new drama and the new NBA with the whole bunch of decisions that are about to be made. Today is the draft, NBA draft. I think we all know who's going to go number one. But he's going number one to a team that just made a major deal in trading Anthony Davis. And it doesn't sound like they're quite done yet. A whole bunch of rumors being reported that they're going to make some other moves, whether it's moving the pick they just got from the Lakers, or moving some of the players they've acquired, or moving some of the players they already have, whether it's Drew Holiday, Lonzo Ball, or who else, or Ingram, or number 4 pick. Let's talk about the trade in general. Do you have all the exact trade amount, like who they gave? So it was Anthony Davis is going to the Lakers in exchange for?
They're going to get Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, and 3 first-round picks. One of them is the 4th overall pick tonight. The next one is going to be a top 8 protected pick in 2021, which becomes unprotected in 2022 if it does not convey. The right to swap first-round picks with the Lakers in 2023, and an unprotected 2024 pick that New Orleans can defer to 2025, which I've never heard of that one before, of that you could just say, no, thank you, we're going to take it next year. I'm not sure. Have you heard of that before?
I don't know. I know they made a big effort to put in this kind of stuff. I think New Orleans made out great here. Normally, in every one of these trades, you think whoever got the best player is the winner, because there's only so many of those guys. I mean, you have one of those guys, you're ahead of almost every other team. I think it's an immediate advantage. I really wonder who the Lakers were bidding against right now, because I don't think there were any other teams that could afford anything near what they agreed to here. Like, I don't think they had to give up any of that. Do you think they gave up too much for this?
I think that this was Rich Paul running the show a little bit, saying, "Hey, this is what you have to do. We're going to make this deal happen." And so I agree with you saying that they're going against each other a little bit. But I think it's a deal that it had to happen. All these guys were told all year they're going to get traded. They weren't thrilled about it, understandably. Anthony Davis has made it very clear he is done playing for the Pelicans, so he had to get out of there. So it's a deal that had to get done, and it seems like a lot of picks. Those pick swaps. I think we've played this game before, and what could possibly go wrong with a pick swap? And then very quickly, that turns into that was a really good cherry on top.
All right, so the Lakers gave up a whole bunch. They finally get to pair up LeBron and Anthony Davis, which is going to be a fantastic combination, but they're going to have a really hard time filling out the rest of this roster. And if one of those guys gets injured, you got to think they're not going to be able to make the playoffs. If LeBron or Anthony Davis gets injured for a significant amount of time, they're not getting in. The West is too hard. It's too good. It's not going to be possible. But on the flip side of that,
does Anthony Davis have an injury history?
Exactly. LeBron just got hurt last year, and I don't think he can carry a whole team on his own anymore. If anybody could do it, he could, but I just don't think he wants to do that anymore, or he'll benefit from doing it that anymore. He can't just force a team to get into the playoffs and then turn on the playoff mode and go LeBron. I don't think he can hold up that long. If anyone could do it, he could, but I'm not counting on that.
Yeah.
There are a whole bunch of teams right now just are getting better and will be better going into next year. Looking at teams like Dallas, whose Porzingis is going to come back, Luka Doncic. I don't know if he's the Rookie of the Year or if did that even come out yet? Did they announce any of the NBA awards? They haven't announced that, right?
Yeah. That was something I was thinking about on the way home today. How
do we not know
going
this?
into the draft, but still don't know who the MVP is?
I don't know. That seems crazy to me. Anyways,
they wait way too long on that.
Anyways, teams that didn't make the playoffs last year that will more than likely be better next year. I think Dallas will be better. I think New Orleans right now, we could talk about them. They just did a whole bunch of stuff, should be a lot better. I think Sacramento will be better. And I don't know who's going out. And then the Lakers didn't make the playoffs last year. So they hopefully will be better. But I don't know who you're kicking out. I mean, who's getting worse out of those top teams other than Golden State? The Lakers aren't going to
see how Paul George comes back from his shoulder surgery.
I don't know if that makes him that much worse because Westbrook is a guy that I don't think it matters. They're always going to have a big regular season. I don't think they'll ever not make the playoffs if he's got the energy he's got.
He'll carry him.
Yeah, he'll carry him. Like I don't think LeBron can do that anymore. I think Westbrook's got a couple more years where he could do that, but he's got a lot more help around him right now.
It sounds like the Lakers aren't done. It sounds like they're trying to move Kuzma and do this. You were kind of explaining it to me, this kind of loophole thing with second round picks.
Yes.
So that way it helps with money, and they're looking to open up another max slot. I don't know exactly who they're looking to get, but it's not over. And as of I think it was yesterday when I checked, the Lakers were the favorite for the title next year.
That seems crazy to me. I mean, it could also, if they're not done yet and they make some moves, I could see it happening. Like, it's not impossible. It's not like I'm looking at this being like, there's no way they can do this. I just see the likelihood of somebody getting injured. Like, they essentially have to have a perfect season next year. They need LeBron and AD to have a perfect year next year to max out all their potential. And if they do that, yeah, they should be the favorite. But I'm not betting on that. I don't see that. I don't think that's a safe bet. I wouldn't take that bet. I don't know what the rest of this roster is going to look like. This is a crazy loophole that they're doing right now. They're going to every single team in the NBA right now, offering them cash for their second-round pick because I guess if you draft a second-round pick, whatever you pay that second-round guy doesn't count against the cap. So if you go over, it's kind of like okay or whatever, so they don't get the same penalty. And as well as they can fill out the roster, so they get to go over the luxury tax. It won't be penalized against them, and they get to add a second-round pick. That's a win-win-win-win for them. I don't know how they found that loophole or who managed to, allow this loophole. That was just strange to me that you could just go buy a second-round pick, go over the tax, and then somehow be okay. That seems like a whole bunch of teams should have been doing that this whole time. I think Golden State is doing that right now, too. I know they just bought someone else's second-round pick for that exactly because they're going to go over with maxing out Clay and Durant. Well, hopefully. And they need to fill out the roster to replace those guys. But I talked about some of these teams that just made a whole bunch of improvements. How good is New Orleans right now? And say even they just stay as is. They draft Zion. They got the number 4 pick. I don't know what they're going to do with that. And then they got Drew Holiday. They've got Lonzo. They've got Josh Hart. It looks like Julius Randle's going to leave. But they still have some pieces there. As well as I think they'll have some cap space as well.
I think that they got some pieces, but it's kind of a hodgepodge, and that they're gonna struggle. They're real young. I think they're gonna move Drew Holiday. I just don't think that they're gonna keep him around. It looks like they're very much going with a youth movement. I'm hearing that they want to move the 4th pick. I'm not exactly sure why. It seemed like a good idea to kind of pair up people with as much people on the Zion timeline as possible, but I don't really know exactly the backstory there. But they're definitely going to be a team that is. They're not going to make the playoffs. They're gonna struggle. But I think that's kind of the idea, that they're not full on tanking. They're maybe sneaky tanking to still try to figure things out.
Oh well. Sneaky tanking can be a very dangerous game. You are literally playing with fire doing that. I know a team that has been sneaky tanking and then somehow was rebuilding and then somehow was a championship, let's win right now. I think you're very familiar with this organization. It's a complete disaster right now with the Boston Celtics looking like we're definitely...
It's not a complete disaster. It's not good, but it's not a complete disaster.
All right, well, I'm just reading off the headlines right now that are everybody's suddenly under attack on Danny Ainge that I think is so unfair. All right, so we made some moves. Danny Ainge is an opportunist, right? Anytime he gets a chance. The Kyrie Irving trade was not part of our plan at all. It just suddenly became, hey, did you know Kyrie Irving's available and wants out of Cleveland? Hey, maybe we can do something for this. And we ended up doing something for it. I think we're just kind of back on the track that we were on before that of 5-year rebuilding. All right, we're building around Tatum. We're building around Jalen. We took 2 years off of that. They were, I guess, a couple years ahead of schedule with some of those guys, and we're just rebuilding all over again. I'm not really hitting the panic button on all of this. I do think losing Horford is a big loss. I don't know who's going to fill those shoes.
That's the one that stings. The Kyrie stuff, Kyrie's been weird pretty much this whole time, and it's just gotten more weird towards the end. And was definitely excited to get him. It was fun when he was playing. It just kind of seemed like something didn't quite fit. If he came back, cool. It's always good to retain an asset like that. But him leaving, definitely there's no like super regret. It was like, oh man, like gonna really miss this guy. But Horford, on the other hand, I assumed for sure he was coming back, or at least it was a high percentage. And now him saying he wants out. Now I'm wondering, how bad is it over there? He seems like a pro's pro. He's going in there. He's getting the work done. He's doing all the little things. And I don't know, maybe it just seems like it's so early. I could see later on, some other teams willing to pay him more than the Celtics are willing to or able to. And it's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But calling it this early of, nope, I know what direction they're going in, and I want no part of it. That was much more of a concern.
I don't necessarily blame him, though. Do you blame him? He wants a 4-year deal because this is going to be probably his last bigger contract. Like, he's not getting anything else. He's veteran minimum after this. Like, this is it. So he's only got one more shot at really getting some money here, and I get that. And I think he would take less money if it was the right situation. But if I'm him, I'm not signing with the Celtics, who aren't going to be in win now mode right now. Like I just said, he's on the back end of his career. He's got maybe 2 years of being very effective and 4 years as a starter before his career is going to change a lot. And I'm not waiting for that if I'm him. I want to win now. He wants a championship. I don't blame him for looking elsewhere. Everyone's making it out like, well, we don't want to pay him. It's like, well, there's no point in paying him. It's not going to be enough. We pay Al Horford, it's not like we're suddenly immediate contenders and that's like a game-changing thing. I just think he's the only steady head we got in this whole.
With Horford and the young guys, 2 years ago, or it was last year, Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals. I mean, it was for sure an overachieve, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. I think the East is much better. But I think that there are other moves that could be made. We have 3 first-round picks tonight. They're in the later half, but moves can be made. Stuff can happen. It just seems I don't think we're quite at the woe is me and everything's falling apart. But the Al Horford not re-signing that was a real gut punch.
Well, it's not over yet. We're making all these announcements. These are expectations of moves that are going to happen. Nothing has happened yet. Kyrie hasn't even left yet, and Al hasn't left yet either. Both these guys are looking elsewhere, and I don't know where they're going to go or where they're going to fit. And I haven't found a really good destination for either of them. I can't think of anywhere that's going to give Al 4 years that he's going to be better off than re-signing with the Celtics right now. If he wants to take a lot less, the Lakers are very desperate right now. I know Houston's doing everything they can. They seem to have some turmoil in there. They want to move Capella. I could see Dallas is being real hungry, going after for everything. They're kind of in a win-now mode. Honestly, every team in the East could use Horford right now. Every single team in the East could use him. Everybody. Toronto could use him. If they lose Gasol or just anybody would use him. Milwaukee could use him if they don't do the Middleton thing and they're going to lose Lopez. I'd probably rather Horford over that. If Philly misses out on Butler and Tobias Harris, and you're never really sure what Embiid's going to do, Horford absolutely fills the slot right there for all that. But I see every one of these teams using him. I just don't know how much better off he would be at all of them. So I let him play the field. Let him go out, all right? Maybe they'll come home, man. All right, I'm not losing hope on all of it. It does seem like that's the likely thing that's going to happen, but nothing has happened yet. And we just talked about Horford. All this, is Kyrie Irving really thinking that the Nets team he's about to join right now is going to be better than the Celtics team, or does he just not care about winning anymore?
The good news is Aaron Baines is coming back.
Wow. All right. Well,
so that's good.
That's good.
Gotta find the small wins.
All right, here's a Tommy point for him.
I'm giving you a Tommy point.
Who would you like to see the Celtics draft tonight at any one of their spots?
I know he's not going to drop there, but if we could somehow get Cam Reddish, I actually think he's going to be a late sleeper. I don't think he's going to be anywhere near. He's not going to be available where we're drafting. At least I hope not. I hope the guy gets drafted a little bit better. I think he's actually like a hidden gem there. I think he was kind of in a weird situation going in, being behind two top guys. RJ is the number one recruit going in, and then Zion ends up being the projected number one pick. And it's kind of hard to be yourself and actually do anything when you have two guys that are that good on your team. So that would be a guy I think will be a late sleeper right now. As for the Celtics, we need a big guy. I don't know if this Time Lord Robert Williams guy is going to be ready to play, but we need somebody that's going to be able to play big. Aaron Baines can only play so many minutes. Who do you think we should target? Do you have a specific name, or are you looking at positions?
Just in the general range, I like Nickeil Alexander-Walker. It's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's cousin. He played for Virginia Tech. He's a versatile scoring wing. And I know we already got some wings, but kind of in this modern NBA, that's kind of just like you play with a bunch of wings. I think he's a tough guy. I think that he's got a good motor, and just kind of fits that mindset of guys that Danny Ainge is always looking for. The Marcus Smart, your Terry Rozier kind of guys that are just kind of a little bit wild. So he's definitely in there.
And see, nobody. What do we have? The 14th pick? Nobody knows any of the names for this. Nobody's going to recognize anything. There's no point in even talking about it. It's too far. It's too far of a projection. We don't know how the first 10 are going to go, let alone how 10 after
Tennessee. That. The Tennessee guys interest me. Grant Williams and Admiral Schofield. Those are some guys I saw playing in college. They're a little older. I just don't see anywhere in our plan how putting 3 rookies and not top elite rookies, kind of a mid to late first round rookies, how that's going to help our team at all. It's like we already got some of those guys that are even older. We got Yabu and we got Semi. It's like maybe one of them pops, but most likely they're just going to be fine bench players that don't really contribute. So I'm wondering if Danny's not on the phones right now looking to make something happen.
I'm sure he is. Nobody wants to do a trade with him either. we have the very weird situation of Danny essentially being able to organize any trade in the world. I guarantee if you told Danny, hey, man, we want you to trade for LeBron, he would come up with a way to do it. He just couldn't come up with a way to get LeBron to stay in Boston. It's amazing to me how everyone's kind of holding that against him. It's like, look, Danny's pulled off miracles. He's won every single trade. I actually think he's drafted really well. It's just he can't convince anybody to be happy in Boston. I mean, Kyrie is a bit of an exception because it sounds like he's never going to be happy anywhere. It just sounds like he's he just sounds like he's always going to complain and point fingers regardless of how the team's playing or how they're doing. I mean, just looking back at this past year, how could Kyrie be so upset? He could easily have still been in Cleveland without LeBron right now. Like, his life got so much improved after that. And yet it feels like he's not grateful for anything. He
got to run his own team. He got to be the guy.
We got everything he wanted, and yet he still seems like
you get the ball at the end of the game. There's no doubt.
So I don't know. I guarantee he's going to do something. I'm trusting it. I'm not hitting the panic button. The media's gone pretty hard at him because it looks like the Lakers were somehow rebuilt overnight, but I don't think so. I mean, the Celtics looked like this last year when they did the Kyrie Irving trade. For all we know, what if Anthony Davis doesn't like playing with LeBron? What if Anthony Davis goes through all the problems that Kyrie Irving went to of LeBron's owning the organization, having all the internal people on his side and working for him and all of his crew in there? I won't use posse because I know he doesn't like that word, but how do we know that's not going to happen? Like, what if that's just a thing? Like, nobody can play with LeBron anymore? You know,
it's going to be interesting. I'm excited for the draft tonight, and just the NBA never sleeps.
We talked about Zion more than likely going number 1. I think that's a lock. I think number 2 is pretty much a lock at this point. Looks like Ja Morant is going to Memphis at number 2. Memphis has also made some very big moves this week, moving on from Mike Conley and actually doing a fairly decent job in return. Part of me just wonders if nobody else wanted to offer Memphis this. I even think the Celtics could have offered whatever we could have matched this offer. What was it? Jay Crowder, Kyle Korver, who's very old, a couple picks, and unfortunately, it looks like Rubio's going to move on. Oh, who? Is there somebody else I'm missing?
National champion Grayson Allen was in that trade.
Oh, and
that's the headline I saw.
And some nobody that was drafted last year.
Once again, national champion.
National champion, yes, a national tripping champion.
National hero.
Suspended.
National hero.
Formerly suspended Duke player for tripping and unsportsmanlike conduct. Yes, he was also traded there in this pick. I'm shocked they moved on from Grayson. Grayson, I really feel like if Grayson were to find a home in the NBA, it would have been in Utah. So Memphis must have really pushed to have him included, I imagine. But this is a big move for Utah right now. You got Donovan Mitchell, Mike Conley, Ingles, and Gobert. Like that's pretty good, as well as a whole bunch of filler guys still available in free agency. I would go after one of the Morris guys if I were them. I think that would be a good fit for them.
They're definitely going to lock some guys down. Like, there's going to be some nights you're going to go against Utah and it's just not going to go your way. They're just going to absolutely defend like no other.
Yeah, and do you think who's the tall guard they have? They drafted years ago. Is he finally going to get this thing together? The point guard they have. Oh man, I'm blanking on his name. Exum. Dante Exum. That's finally going to work at some point. No?
It does. It really doesn't seem that way. Coming out of Australia, it was kind of one of the ooh. I mean, we've been watching these college guys. We're kind of bored with this guy. Ooh, who's this guy out of Australia? Ooh, he's exotic. And I haven't seen him that much. He doesn't play much. He plays on the West Coast. So talking a little bit just on gut feeling here, but like I have not really heard anyone really say like, oh no, I'm a Dante Exum guy. I'm gonna shout it from the mountaintops.
Yeah, is he the new Jeff Green? Is that who that is? Or is that even a compliment or an insult to somebody? But how do you feel about Utah making some moves here? Forget about Exum. I don't care how you feel about him anymore. How do you feel about the Utah Jazz really making a push this year with a more or less wide open NBA.
I like it. I think that a lot of teams, them included, with Clay and KD going down, it opens everything wide open, and now I think is the time to try to make a splash. Exactly like this. Mike Conley, a great player, and from all the things I've heard, is just wants to play basketball, just wants to make the people around him better. And actually does want to do that and proves that. A little different from Kyrie, where maybe when you say stuff, it doesn't quite actually line up with what the actions are. And so I think that he's going to fit in real well with that group over there. But it does free up Rubio. I wonder where he will end up.
You know, it's funny because I saw a whole bunch of articles about saying how like Utah did Rubio wrong. It's like, well, it would have been great for Rubio to stay in Utah, and I mean, they probably.
I think they were up front. It was like as soon as the season ended, they said, Rubio's not going to be a priority in the offseason.
Okay, that's fine.
Doesn't feel good, but it's not like they told him, oh yeah, we definitely want to keep you, and then didn't. It's just like, hey, we're being up front with you. Like we're going to go a different direction. We're going to trade for Mike Conley.
Look, that's what's crazy to me though, that they were willing to trade like a couple of key pieces of their roster rather than re-sign Rubio. And I get that that's a slap in the face, but on the flip side of that, it's not like they traded Rubio to somewhere he doesn't want to be. Like Rubio can go wherever he wants right now. He's a free agent.
Yeah.
He's a free agent. Like everyone keeps looking at it like they did him wrong, like he won't fit on some other roster. I think there's a bunch of teams in the NBA that would be very happy to have Rubio, and they'd be lucky to have him. I'm curious to see whether he'll be selective on that, because this is probably going to be his last contract if he wants one. Before it's like, all right, you're a veteran minimum guy too. I'm curious to see whether he's going to want to get paid or if he's just going to go straight to that, oh, I want to win now roster. If he's going to go, I don't know, it'd be funny if he ended up somewhere like Golden State even.
I don't think they have that kind of money.
Well, he's gonna sign for less if he wants to be on one of these teams, I imagine. But all right, on the flip side of all this, how did Memphis do? Did they get enough for Mike Conley? A couple old guys and some Duke guy nobody's heard of.
Kyle Korver might retire. I think this might have been a try to do right by Mike Conley of, hey, we could trade you somewhere else, maybe get a better haul, but you know what? His number's going to be retired. They love him in the city. He's right there with Gasol, and yeah, it doesn't seem like a great haul, but I think that was part of it. It's trying to do right by him, and you kind of get the poo-poo platter and some picks and call it a day. Get ready for your tank.
Do you have any sympathy for Jay Crowder, who's going to play for all 32 NBA teams by the end of his career? Like he's going to lap onto second teams right now. He's going to play again for another team somewhere. And
there's only 30 NBA teams, so that'd be really hard to play all 32.
He's going to go for another one. He's going to play on another team again. He's going to play the Celtics at least 4 more times in his career.
Am I misremembering? He played well for the Jazz last year, right?
I thought he did. I actually don't. I think the only place he's played poorly was in Cleveland, and I just thought that was like just a weird fit. Like they weren't using him.
Mess, yeah.
I remember him playing well. I remember him playing really well in Boston. I'm shocked this guy hasn't found a home. This is exactly what the Lakers need right now. By the way, they would be lucky to have Jay Crowder on the Lakers right now.
Just like a blue collar guy, a 3-and-D guy, doesn't necessarily need the ball all the time. Could just like fill in. Not a ton of stats, but it's gonna guard guys and get the job done.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got any more NBA talk you want to get into? Otherwise, I'm going to move on to a couple smaller topics here. We got about 15 minutes left.
Yeah, I don't want to really get too much, into the draft because by the time people hear this, then it'll already have happened and will sound even sillier than we did on our other predictions. So yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, I know we nailed the other predictions. I'm pretty sure. I actually had multiple people text me that listened to the podcast. Were like, "So Warriors in 4, huh?" I was like, "Well, it's a different Warriors team I was expecting."
There are a lot of injuries.
Yeah. You know what? But I give Toronto credit. They were a lot better than I think anyone thought, especially me. I got to eat some of my words right now in saying that Toronto was a good team.
I had no idea Fred VanVleet was going to have a kid and then turn into some sort of supernova situation.
Yeah, who thought that? I am definitely embarrassed by my pick. Well, while on the topic of embarrassment, let's talk about a supermarket that is now using embarrassing, recyclable bags, like the plastic bags, to help encourage people to use the reusable bags. It's supposed to be an environmental awareness. I think this makes a lot of sense as somebody who never remembers to bring the reusable grocery bags shopping anywhere. I am constantly always using the plastic ones, and I do feel a little bit bad for it, but I also find the use of the plastic bags always be convenient. It's great. I could use it for the little trash cans, like in the bathroom or whatever. I've always found use for the plastic bags. But when you describe this as embarrassing, what exactly does that mean? Is there some different colors on them or some wordings? What is making these bags embarrassing?
It has to do with the text. They have a few different types. First one says "Into the Weird Adult Video Emporium." The second one says "The Colon Care Co-op," and the third one says "Dr. Tao's Wart Ointment Wholesale." So just enough, and it's written in full lettering. So like, there's really no mistaking it. Everyone that is in your vicinity is going to be able to read it and is going to be able to, kind of give you ocular pat down, see what's going on with you. Probably wonder where these stores, why these stores exist and where they exist. But
is that enough to stop you from using it? Is that enough for you to stop using it?
I think it would help. I think it would help to kind of nudge you in the right direction. So that's why I think it's a cool idea. It's called East West Market. It's in Vancouver in Canada. I think it's a cool idea. Rather than I think a lot of times the government has to get involved as it's doing here in the States, enforcing and saying no more plastic bags, or you just try to force people to do stuff and you just naturally become resistant. It's like it's changed. Like no, like don't tell me what to do. But with this, it's just a nudge. It's an incentive of hey, you can absolutely we'll give you the bags. We have no problem with that. You use as many of you as you want, but maybe you feel just a little bit silly and you're at home and before you leave, you just you know what? I really need to bring those reusable bags. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have those silly ones. And last time I saw Gina from the school committee, and oh boy, was that embarrassing! I don't want that to happen again.
I like the idea of it. I think the idea is fantastic. I know here in California, it's 5 cents for a bag now. So if you don't bring it, you got to pay 5 cents for a bag. But I'll be honest, I pay the 5 cents every single time. Like that's not enough. I almost feel like you got to go up on that and make it maybe not $1, but I think even 50 cents a bag would be like, oh, all right, now this is starting to be real money right now. Otherwise, a couple cents here and there, it's whatever. It's like, would you pay 5 more cents to have all the groceries you had, but have something to carry it with? It's like, oh yeah, I'll pay 5 more cents for that. Yeah, that sounds worth it. So I think that's the better way to hit people's wallets. But I like the approach of let's have some fun with this. Let's make this, it's childishly playful. It's not like drastically embarrassing. It's just enough of something you wouldn't want to happen to you, but if it did happen to you, you're not like, oh, I'm never going back to that store again.
Yeah, exactly. And the options are endless. Like there's so many juvenile things you could do.
Can you think of any off the top of what you would not want to say on your grocery bag? Like, do you have any ideas of what would be embarrassing? Or can we just sell you Laker bags? Like, is that how we get you?
That was the direction I was going in. That would be an instant. All right, you know what? Just put my stuff to the side. I'm gonna go to some other store and buy bags right now. I'm not playing around with this. I don't know. You maybe might be able to do that regionally.
Yeah, I like the idea of that. I like the idea of having the teams pay for it as well. Let's have like the Celtics in LA over there, and let's have the Lakers in Boston, and whatever other cross rivalries we can get. Yankees, Red Sox. Maybe even do the colleges. Duke, UNC.
The only thing, but does it somehow backfire? And then rather than it being a deterrent, if it only encourages it, if it it finds a pocket, like the pocket of Celtics fans out, on the West Coast, they go to that store more often specifically to get the bags.
Maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe it needs to be. I don't know. I like that. This is a new idea. I've never seen this done before. I like that this is opening kind of a door for some fun here, as well as it's awareness. I think it's the right way to go about the awareness of not forcefully doing it to anybody, but just letting them know, like, look, this is something we need to address. This is something that should be changed. This is something we need to be thinking about, and this is a new way of letting people know about that. So I like it. I like it. I think it's a really smart move. It's really clever. I would have never thought of something like this. Speaking of something that's pretty clever, I don't know if it's how new it is, but it's essentially a software algorithm called Crosscheck, and what it is, it's an AI that essentially catches. It recognizes certain patterns, I suppose. I guess that would be the real advantage of it. So the patterns it's able to recognize can be used for cross-checking, like college essays. You remember, kind of like Turnitin.com. For anyone's unfamiliar with Turnitin.com, or at least in our era, when we were in high school, if you ever to submit a paper, you would have to submit it to Turnitin.com, and it would check it for plagiarism, whether you quoted things properly.
Whoa, hold on. We got breaking news.
What do we got?
Hawks just acquired the number 4 pick.
The Hawks did.
Yep.
Do we have any details?
I'm pulling it up right now. I believe it was for 2 more first-round picks and maybe something else. It was on the bottom line. Let me try to find that real quick. Came in 8 minutes ago. Let me click on the link here.
All right. Anyways, you know what? Why don't we just...
New Orleans receives 4 draft picks. They're giving up 8, 17, 35 in this draft, and a protected first-round pick via Cleveland in next year's draft.
Man, all right. Making moves.
And the Hawks are going to draft DeAndre Hunter.
Oh, they already... Really?
Virginia.
Yep. Does that mean Garland's going to drop? Right?
That would mean, Yep.
Interesting. Hey, well,
I have no idea where he is in his injury recovery, because he didn't really play much of last year. So he was playing for Vanderbilt and then got hurt, so I didn't really get a chance to see him play.
Yeah, no, I actually think he's going to be the guy. I think Garland's going to be pretty good, especially where you're drafting him. I think that's going to be great. We'll see where he ends up falling to right now. All right, well, we got some moves right now.
That's a bunch of picks.
That is a lot of picks. What? Why would New Orleans not want a player out of all this, though?
And it seems odd. I feel like they just got a bunch of players, and now you're changing one player into 3 more players this year.
Yeah, and the one player you could have got at number 4, hopefully, would be able to play like this year. I don't like that move for them.
Yeah, like I was saying earlier in this podcast, I had heard the rumors that they wanted to move from 4 and just didn't quite get the logic of it. So I'll have to do some research and find out.
All right, well, I got the boo button ready here. I'm already booing them. They're ruining this. Poor Zion is going to be stuck with all of this nonsense right now. Wow, all right. That just seems like... I get that you're building for the future, but don't you think you would have had one guy you want to groom with Zion as you go? It starts right now. Like with any of the picks they just traded for.
I don't know. Maybe maybe with 8, maybe they want to pair him back up with Cam Reddish. Got Brandon Ingram there. Maybe a little Duke South.
Ugh, those aren't the guys I'd want to put together. But maybe.
Hopefully Brandon Ingram's okay.
That's a strange trade. I mean, good for Atlanta though. I like Atlanta getting aggressive with all this. They got Trae Young over there. The Collins guys looks pretty good.
Yeah.
And
another young guy that can hopefully contribute right away.
Yeah. You know what? I'm kind of. Let's just wrap everything up here. I know we got the draft coming up, so I want to get to go watch all that. We'll keep everyone up to date with everything. We'll be back next week at Wednesday. We do record generally live at 3 o'clock. Make sure to check out the website, lcalcb.com. I'll talk about the cross-check algorithm thing in the next podcast. Probably not. Make sure you go check out soldbywill.com for all your San Diego real estate needs. And if you're not already following Zach on Twitter, make sure you follow him at
WickedZman24.
And enjoy the NBA draft. Looks like there's going to be lots of drama, lots of changes. We will be prepared and ready to go next Wednesday. For now, enjoy the lesser quality off day Thursday podcast. Yeah. This is a disaster. We should have just did this after the draft. or after the finals last week. I don't know. Anyways.
What are you going to do?
What
the
are you
interns
gonna do?
were on vacation or sick or whatever, so gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, we're hungover. Whatever. Anything else you want to add out there for the people?
Shout out to James and Noah. That's who I was road tripping with, and why we actually had to delay the podcast. And they seemed interested and asked for a shout out. So now I'll find out if they actually listen or not.
Oh man, you're gonna make them listen through all of that. First of all, it's gonna sound like worse quality, but whatever.
Well, you can't handle me at my worst. You don't deserve me at my best, right? That's what white girls say.
Is that what they say? I thought Michael Scott just quoted everybody.
What do I do with Michael Scott?
Anytime I don't know who actually quoted it, I just say it was Michael Scott.
Oh, okay.
Because he took the Wayne Gretzky quote from him. I think that seems fair game.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Wayne Gretzky, Michael Scott.
Yeah, so that's how that joke works. Yeah, man, this was a really bad one. Yeah, that's the worst joke I've ever told in the podcast. So let's wrap this up, and we'll be back next week. Go check out the website and go buy one of the T-shirts. They're on Amazon. They're on the website. We'll be back.
Little column A, little column B.